This week's episode of the Good Dude, Good Dad podcast is brought to you by BioPro. Use the link down below plus code GDGD upon checkout, along with Hidden House Coffee. Go to hiddenhousecoffee.com and use code GDGD on your checkout to receive a discount. Now, enjoy the show. Hey guys, welcome back to the Good Dude, Good Dad podcast. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Ben. And I'm doing the intro today because Jordan said he messes it up, but every time he makes me do this, I mess it up. So,
yeah, well, also, you know Jake better than I do.
That's true. So, today's guest, his name is Jake Berry. You might know him as Janky Jake, but dude, I'm stoked to have you on just because we've known each other a long stinking time. Yeah. Like a long time. And he actually has done stuff on my arm that will never be able to go away. I got technically only 2 tattoos from him, but they're little things in between them that he did as well for me. I told him the other day, I was like, dang, dude, I wish I would have met you before I did all this other stuff, but it's too late now. So I'm committed. But
I hope your other tattoo artist isn't listening.
Dude, I hope he is. I hope you do.
Fool.
Get better. I'm just kidding. But dude, I've known Jake, I think, since roughly 2011-ish time frame.
Yeah.
Another fun fact about Jake, he actually helped us come up with one of our first logo shifts, logo changes. He gets everything.
That's okay.
Oh, it's so funny. He did our HHC roaster, like the handwritten one.
Yeah, because you wood carved it, or you wood burned it onto that. So that's every time that Ben mentioned, or when Ben mentioned you, this was, when we started hanging out again, and he was like, yeah, like I was like, where'd you get all that work done? He was like, oh, Janky Jake. And I was like, who? And he's like, Jake, you know the one that, like the one that used to come in. I was like, oh, the dude that wood burned on the wooden block.
Because he helped us with the pallet wall too. That was, I think, your idea.
Yeah.
To do the pallet wall.
What's crazy is, let me just pick him up. Driving me crazy. Hey,
Jake brought his dog.
Come here.
And his dog is eating our studio.
Come here.
I didn't realize how messy our studio was.
It's just there's cables.
We just got stuff
things
on the
all
ground.
over.
Well, okay, so what's interesting about what you're bringing up, I'm pretty certain that's most likely my first job as an artist.
No way.
Was helping Hidden House. And I remember Ben was like, I was like, oh my dude, you're driving me crazy. You're gonna have to go in the car or something. Just lie down. I remember John was the one that threw it out there, like, hey, like, you should help us come up with a logo, you should help us whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I would love to do that, and so I talked to you about it, and you're like, yeah, how much? And I was like dumbfounded. I was like, I have no idea. What do I do about this, And I threw out some number. I don't even remember what it was.
I have no idea either.
Threw it out as like, he's never going to go for this.
Yeah.
And Ben's like, yeah, cool. And I'm like, what? Like, that's how the world works? Like, people get paid to do this? Like, it's crazy. And I remember walking away like, dude, what a sucker. Like, I have no business doing this. But I was really stoked. And it was like a key, like, it's a big memory for me.
Yeah.
Because now I get paid to do art that's my job. And it was like the first job that I had as an artist.
Dude,
that's so cool.
Yeah. And dude, we still, we mutually helped each other because of that logo, we had our graphic designer, Dan, recreate your letters, but he did the whole alphabet.
That's cool.
And then we started to use that, and then that shifted into the new circle logo. Yeah. And then that circle logo changed to the new like badge logo.
Yeah. Like, where is it?
It might be on that bag, maybe. Yeah. We might have taken it off, but there's so many versions of it. But you also did, I just found them the other day. I don't remember where I put them, but do you remember you hand drew like a V60 and a muffin or something like that?
Did I?
You hand drew a couple of the items we had. and I put those on our catering cards back then.
Okay.
And but I found them on I have them online for sure, but I thought I found the actual hard copy.
Wow,
No
that's
way.
crazy. Wow.
Yeah, what a trip, dude.
Yeah, that's wild.
I mean, and that wall's still there that you two did.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
We still have the wood carving. I want to rehang it on the pallet wall. I just haven't got to yet. But dude, that thing is still alive and well.
When we did the remodel of San Juan, we like very carefully took it off.
Yeah.
And that dude, you made that thing so solid. Like I was
so
like
heavy.
I was trying to take it off and I was like, oh my dude, like this is really well built.
It
was
heavy.
awesome.
Yeah.
But what a trip, dude. Memory lane.
I know.
Memory lane. I think that's another thing that's really cool about just the world of like progression, right? We always talk on this podcast specifically about just like how things can change or small steps that people take to get to where they're at. And you think about from 2011 to 2025.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I've watched you go from a teenager essentially to it sounds so weird, but a full-blown man. Like,
it's crazy.
You're a well-known, established tattoo artist. You have a family. You do so many different things. Like, I knew you when you were living in a warehouse with a bunch of dudes. Yeah, he had a band called Row Summit.
Okay. I remember you having a band.
We did like shows at Hidden House. But dude, that was the longest intro. Normally what we do from here is we just have you start telling us about you and kind of how you got to where you're at.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on here. This is cool. And something about me. Tell me, you want me to tell you about me? I'm a tattoo artist. I'm from California. I spent the last 7 years living in Ireland. My wife is Irish. So, and then just moved back here last year. And so like, I have a family. I have a wife and a daughter and a stepdaughter, and feel extremely lucky and just like life worked out for me, which is kind of crazy. I like don't feel like I had a plan at all and just kept rolling with life. And then I found myself in a really awesome situation, felt like I won the lottery. And then I was like, oh wow, I need to protect this and do something about this. And then started kind of getting, I think also I was young. And so then I got older and moved to Ireland, started a family. And I was like, oh man, I have this like tattoo career right in front of me. I need to do something about this. So I got kind of focused on tattooing. I kind of said goodbye to the music, at least temporarily.
Yeah.
And built a tattoo business with my wife. And that's it. That's me, I think.
Yeah. How did you end up? Because I remember back in the day you drawing and doing music at Hidden House and stuff like that. But like, how did you? Basically, I saw that, and then one day you just like popped up on my feed, and I was like, literally my Instagram feed. And I was like, oh, I think I know him, and I like clicked it. And I was like, dude, his work is so sick.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you.
How did that happen? Like, where did like? Take us a little bit on that journey from you did your first art project for Hidden House to now,
traveling the world.
Traveling the world, being a full-blown tattoo artist.
Yeah, it was a total like accident.
Yeah.
So it was, and that's kind of why I started off by saying, I got really lucky.
Yeah.
Because when I got into tattooing, I learned in my room, basically with a bunch of friends that wanted shitty tattoos. Am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
They wanted bad tattoos, or they wanted tattoos and they didn't really care what they looked like.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, I'll do that, and it was for fun and it was just like messing around. Then I started doing friends of friends, and then their friends started reaching out, and then, posting them on Instagram, and people started kind of, seeing my work and reaching out. So straight away I was like busy, which is, if someone were to start today, I don't think that's how it would go.
Yeah.
So I think it was the right time to get into what I was doing.
Right.
You also, people knew who you were though, in this area.
Yeah, maybe like a very small localized community. There was like, Jake's doing tattoos, and so it was cool. It was like I was busy, and which probably wasn't the best thing for me at the time, because it was like, it was great because I could just like start tattooing and learn and try things and whatever. But it was also, it created this like, bit of comfort that made me kind of stay where I was at.
Yeah.
Where I was like, this is great. Things are going great. Like, I don't need to change anything,
Yeah.
And I didn't have to learn anything. I didn't have to like, grow as an artist or get better. It was just like, people are coming to me, paying me for this. Like, I'm good. And that's like a bad place to be in because you're not going to grow, And so, everything worked out in a really cool way where I was doing these tattoos. They were very homemade, very janky. Okay. Yeah. And then I met my wife and I decided, okay, I'm going to move to Ireland and just see how that goes. I didn't know if it was going to be for a year, 2 years, whatever. And while I was over there, I took some time off tattooing, and my wife, she was working for this tech company, and like half of the company got let go there. And now that doesn't exist anymore. It went, basically, it's gone. So 4 months into living there, my wife loses her job. We're getting married in a few weeks. And it's like, everything's happening all at once. So I said, okay, maybe now's the time to get back into tattooing. So I said, I'm going to get back into tattooing. And my wife was like, well, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you get some clients out here. So we decided to go to the nearest town, which is about 40 minutes from us. We live in the middle of nowhere in Ireland, basically. It's a small town. So we went to the nearest large town, or decent-sized town, 40 minutes away, talked to a couple tattoo shops, which is hilarious to think about now, and was like, can I work here? Whatever. And started working there, and she basically was like, maybe you could do a little bit better work, than what you're doing. And I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, this is what I do. Just trust me. The clients are gonna come. And she's like, yeah, but like, don't you want to be better than this? And I'm like, well, like what? And she started showing me all this stuff. We started looking online and exploring, and she's like, look how good this is, And she's showing me guys that are like, famous tattoo artists and, the best in the world. And she's like, why? Like, don't you want to try to do something like that? And, my response was like, I'll never be able to do that. Like, that's not even in my radar. Yeah. I'm just going to stay in this little pocket here. And she's like, okay, well, that's just like a very small-minded way to go about this. You know what I mean? So she was patient, and she like eventually kept kind of like getting into my head. Like, yeah, maybe I could do better. Maybe I can try some other techniques and try learning and growing. So I did. So I was like, okay, let me try this. Let me try that. And it was all just figuring it out for myself. Like, I had no one showing me, but I was comparing my work to what these other artists were doing. And I was like, how do they do that? Like, why is mine not looking like that? And then I started traveling, and I would go to these shops in LA, New York, or whatever, and I would meet these artists. And
let him. I would just let him play with it.
It's
or
fine.
Chew it up. It don't matter.
Are you?
Yeah.
It's fine.
It'll keep him occupied.
All right. So, once I was around other tattoo artists and I saw what they were doing, it kind of like gave me this boost. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you not trying to be better? And so, I just got obsessed with like, and I think I have that personality in a way, but I got obsessed with just wanting to be as good as these guys, and figure it out. And, so it was with the help of my wife for sure. And just being around other artists that kind of like helped me start developing more of a, I don't know what you'd call it, but a different style, and kind of trying to just get better, and having someone in your corner that's going to be honest with you was a huge thing for me, where she was just like, I do a tattoo that I thought was really good, at the time, and it was better than what I have been doing. And she's just like, yeah, but it's still not there, and I'm like, what, how, and she's like, well, look, let's look at it. Does yours look like this? And I'm like, no, it doesn't actually. And she's like, yeah, I mean, it's good, but it's not that, And so it was great, because I feel like before that, there was just always people that were like, oh, your work is great, And every artist hears this, because, especially tattoo artists, because people are coming to you for your tattoos. So they show up and they're like, I love what you do. Your work is amazing. So then you're just like, yeah, my work's amazing. I'm good, you know?
Yeah.
And it feels good, but it's like crappy because you just stay there. But then when someone's like, yeah, it's not that good though, you know, you can be better. It's like, whoa, yeah, I can. Like, how do I do that? You know?
Dude.
It was very eye-opening for me.
There's so many cool things out of what you just said that I love. I have so many great questions, but the two key points that like I really heard was the awesome relationship that you and your wife have where she is able to challenge you and you're willing and secure enough. Maybe it's looking back at it now, but to accept that criticism
Right.
and know that like she's coming from a loving place and like knows you and like wants to see the best for you and challenges you. Like a good spouse will challenge each other. You know, like you'll uplift each other, you're encouraging each other, but you're also challenging each other daily.
For sure.
Because that's what really makes you better, you know?
Did you receive it well back then?
No, I didn't. No,
Yeah.
it was very, I mean, and she had to have the patience of a saint because you know, she would say, and in a very nice way, she wasn't mean. She was just like honest. And, you know, it was hard. It's hard for me, and understandably, because you just spent 8 hours working on something really hard to make it as good as you can do.
Yeah.
And to hear that it's not up to par, you're just like, like you just feel defeated because you just put in, and she wasn't like unaware of that. She knew that, but she was just like, I know, but it still isn't,
Yeah.
you know, it still doesn't look like this, you know?
Hey guys, this is Jordan with Good Dude, Good Dad. Quick break. I just want to thank our sponsors. The first one being Bio Pro. The link is down below. Use code GDGD. Ben and I have been on for about a month now, and it goes under your tongue in the morning. There's a night version to help you sleep a little bit better. But I tell you what, I get home, and for the first time in a while, I actually have some energy to hang out with my kids, to play, to get my workout in, and the best part of all, to hang out with my wife at the end of the night and not feel utterly exhausted. So go check out the link down below. Next, Hidden House Coffee. Go to hiddenhousecoffee.com, get a bag or 2 or 10, and use the code GDGD for a discount on that. I want to say thank you to Rode for all this amazing equipment and the sound quality. And last but not least, go check out gooddudegoodDad.com. Get yourself some sweet merch. Sign up from our emails. And please like, share, and subscribe. It's all because of you guys that we are growing. We're excited to bring on more guests and serve you the best that we can. So remember, be a good dude, be a good dad. Get back to the show. I forgot where we were.
You talked about you were just about to start talking about you went to LA or something. Tattoo.
Oh, well, how about this? Another thing that you had talked about when you were first saying that is that when you started getting around higher level of tattoo artists, a lot of your style and like how you did everything changed. Like there's what's up?
Just making sure I was recording.
It's funny because like you hear a lot about it, and like, well, at least probably I do because I listen to a bunch of that stuff in like the self-help space. They're like, yo, or like trying to better yourself. They're like, who you're around matters. Like the temperature of the room matters, because then it's gonna bring you to a higher level. Like I'm not saying ditch all your friends, you know, right now, but a lot of people like hang out with people that they are, how do I say this nicely? They are the top tier of their friend group. And it's like, you're not going to get any better if you're all in the same space.
Yeah, a common thing is like be the dumbest person in the room.
Right.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of value in being around people that are where you want to be. Like, and that's how I got better. That's how I learned what I learned. There's a few things about that. So I always say, and I just strictly speaking about tattoo artists, like that's the world I'm in. I always say to people, if you want to get better, go travel and meet other artists. And because they're working and vibrating at a different frequency than you are right now. And the people you're around all the time, there's nothing wrong with them, but what can happen is you can start to match each other's frequency, and then no one's coming in with a different buzz, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're all just kind of stagnant around the same thing, day in and day out, getting used to the same things. But you go and you meet someone else who's buzzing at a different level, and it causes friction where you're like, I notice a difference in the room. right? I noticed a difference in the way they approach their clients, the way they approach their design process, the way they even just sit down and put their head down and work. All these different things that you're picking up on, even at a subconscious level, you go away from that better, like without a doubt. And even if you're there, you can't even explain what it is that you picked up on. There's something you picked up on. That's what's happened to me every time I go and I work with artists that I look up to. And the tattoos I'm doing there are always better. And then I leave and I go home and the tattoos I'm doing after that are always better, no matter what.
Yeah.
And it's not that I learned something from them. It's not that they taught me something. But there's something that happens where you pick up on, I'm a believer in like the energy in the room, the energy around you. You know, we're all putting out physical, and this is what's cool about science is like it's like a science now. It's not woo-woo, you know, it's like it's actually there's actual physical things happening in the room, you know? And when you're in a room that has that energy, you're just going to pick up on it. We're receiving things all the time, you know what I mean? And so I'm a believer in that. The second thing that that's the first part of it. The second part of it is that a huge realization for me was that like I'd be around these artists and I'd go into it going like, oh, I can't wait to see what they're doing and what they're using because there must be something that I don't know.
Yeah.
And sometimes there is, right? Sometimes it's something small like, oh, what's that ink? You know, oh, I got to try that. And you might try it and like it. Okay. Most of the time though, you're going into a room hoping to find something that you don't know and there's nothing. And you're like, oh, they're just better.
Yeah.
They have the same tools I have. There's no secret sauce. There's no secret recipe. They're using the same stuff. They're just better than me. And it's kind of a defeating feeling, but it's also inspiring because you're like, okay, now I know that I'm not missing something. I can actually accomplish that with the tools I have, which is really exciting because now it's up to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not missing anything. So that happens a lot too, or that happened to me a lot when I was like going and meeting these people and realizing that like we're all the same, and it's literally just about like getting better.
It just eliminates kind of that excuse where it's like
or the mystery.
Oh yeah, because I mean you see that all the time. You're like, oh, they must have some secret tip or something that I don't know about, and then you get there and you're like, oh no, it's just hard work. They've just put in more like. I feel like people do that with like the coffee for you, you know, like they like sit down and start asking you questions about coffee, you know, and it's like, yeah, you have all these little things that you've learned over the years, but a lot of it is just, you've put in a lot of freaking time and effort, you know, and it's like, that's part of, at the end of the day, there's a lot of like, you can try to do some shortcuts here and there, but there's just some things that just take like working your craft.
Right.
You know, and I feel like art's one of them. Like it, you know, like you can be naturally talented, but you also there's just a level of you have to work your craft.
100%,
dude. Back to Ireland, and you working at at a tattoo shop,
right?
How did you bridge that gap from you working and learning and your wife challenging you to? Didn't you guys own your own space there?
Yeah, so it happened really quick. So I moved to Ireland. I needed a place to work, and I've never worked in a tattoo shop at this point. I've only worked in my bedroom, and I've never even been around another tattoo artist.
So did you ever intern under do an apprenticeship?
I just learned in my bedroom by myself. Wow. So I was in Ireland, and I had never been around another tattoo artist. So, you know, especially after what we just talked about, there was so much I didn't know. And there was so much there was so much room to grow. Like I was literally just buzzing at my own frequency. I had no even concept of I didn't even know like what things were called. Okay. So I went into this tattoo shop and I'm like, hey, I'm from California. I'm just moved here. I need a place to work. They're like, yeah, cool. You can work here. And, I walked in and I was so nervous, and it's this small town tattoo shop in the middle of Ireland, you know, kind of small town. Like it wasn't this big deal, but I was so nervous because it was the first time I've ever been in a shop. They're going to sniff me out and think like, dude, this guy has no idea what he's doing. Like he's a fraud and, you know, he doesn't belong here. So I was like walking in really careful, like watching what they were doing and just mimicking everything I saw, you know? and I was there for 3 months. And then after 3 months, I was like, you know, my wife and I built up a online presence. We hit it really hard, and back then it was a lot easier to do that.
Yeah.
So social media started kicking off, and we were like, okay, let's do this. Like, because I went to the owner, and it was an absurd rate that I was paying being there. And, you know, it was funny because he had never seen this kind of money before. And he was like buying new big screen TVs and a new phone. And he was like buying all this new clothes. And I was like, oh, this guy's loving life right now, you know? But I was like, this is crazy. I'm not getting any business from him. I'm getting my own business. I'm just working in this space. So I said, hey, look, I need to have like a different arrangement here. And he's like, not going to happen. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to have to just go get my own space. And he's like, dude, you're not going to, that's good luck, basically, is what he was saying. Like, that's not going to work out for you. And I was like, okay, well, I went and got a space. And, you know, my wife and I tackled that and like loved it. And then we started having other artists involved and got some apprentices. After this is down the road. But, yeah, so I was able to open up my own studio in Ireland and be busy enough to have that go.
Did you, when you guys left, did you close it or did you sell it?
No, so we just closed it. I was renting a space there.
Okay.
And it was, when we left Ireland, it was in a time where things were changing a lot and for the shop. And we can go into this, but basically as a business owner, I had to go through that whole learning process that I went through as a tattoo artist as a business owner.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I don't know how to run a business. I don't know how to manage people. And that's really hard to do, manage people, you know. And so there was a lot of learning stuff that was going on in that. And it was my first time doing all that. So I would kind of set these standards that were bad. Like they were just like the wrong kind of standards, you know, off the bat. And then down the road would learn, okay, this is not good. Like I need to change this, right? We need to change the expectations that I have. We need to change the dynamic in the shop. And that wasn't well received, you know. As you know, once you set a standard or an expectation, it's really hard to break that, you know. So
people hate change.
People hate change, especially when it's going really well for them.
Yeah.
And, you know, so there were some certain things, and I didn't handle that well. I kind of like would tiptoe around things, didn't want to hurt people's feelings, and I was always trying to be like the supporter, and like the good guy, and like I want to help you succeed. And that was you know, it's similar to like being a dad. That's not always like making that person feel good. It's about teaching them like what's right and wrong, what's going to help them in the long run, you know what I mean? So there was a lot of changes happening. Those changes weren't well received. So some of the artists decided to leave. They ended up moving to a different country. A lot of them went to London. Some of them stayed local, but it was kind of like I got to a point where I was like, all right, this is the arrangement that works for us. And if that doesn't work for you, then that's fine, but we can't have you.
Yeah.
And it was a really like horrible experience for me, but it was also a really like exciting experience because I was like, it was like a burden was gone where I was like, I could like be free from this burden of like not knowing what to do. I was just like, this is the way it is, take it or leave it. And it felt really good, you know? And because all that happened and so much changed, I was like, maybe now's a good time to just like leave this, go to California and try something else.
Dang. So the timing of it was good.
Yeah.
I kind of want to shift us a little.
Yeah. I can push things back as well.
No, I just want to shift our conversation a little in speak more to using these experiences that you have gone through and hearing like the accountability partner you have in your wife. I think it would be so helpful for our listener base because we always try to provide some sort of like value, right? Like we're three dudes sitting in this room where there's been this conditioning that we're tough, we're strong, we don't need to talk about things, we have things figured out. That's what Jordan and I have been seeing a lot lately and hearing a lot lately is like, oh wait, there actually is a need for this space where men can actually like say what's going on because more often than not, what we're discovering is we're all going through the same similar things, just in our own ways, right? But you got to be the man. You got to have it put together. You got to be there for your wife, for your kids, for the people that rely on you 24/7. But what about us? Like, where do we get to sometimes be recharged or even just have that accountability. So I think for you, dude, is you moved to a foreign country. You grew up in Orange County, California, which is, we call it the bubble, right? You moved to Ireland, you get married, you have a stepdaughter,
yeah.
and then you guys started your, you have a kid now as well. So it's like, how did you bridge that gap from you being single Janky Jake, musician, artist, to all of a sudden you're now like a family man and trying to run a business?
How did I bridge that gap?
Yeah.
Same way I did everything in my life. I just dove in head first. I had no idea what I was doing, and kind of winged it. Is that the right?
Yeah.
Winged it. It sounds wrong. Wung it. Wang it.
No, I think it's still wing.
It's not wang it.
Like, what's the past tense wing? And it was like I was learning as I went, and which is obviously things work out, but I do wish I had, always looking back, I wish I had more guidance in a lot of areas in my life.
Yeah.
Business, as a dad, as a husband, and which maybe I would always feel that way, even if I had a different guidance. I don't know, but I just dove in head first. I didn't know what I was doing. I have this horrible and wonderful personality trait that when I want something, it's like all I want and it's all I think about, and I just go for that.
Yeah.
Like nothing else matters, and it's like my worst and best trait, because it's like I will do anything to get it, and I will do anything to make it work. But like which is great if you have a family and you care about your family, but it's also terrible when it's like I get obsessed with golf and that's all that matters to me is like going and playing golf. So there's like, a balance, but that's how I bridge the gap. I just went
for it.
Yeah.
I think what is important about that though is because everyone has their own approach of doing things, or like a support system, a group, or like you said, you wish maybe you had more of an example or mentorship in some of these areas. But again, another thing we're seeing is like so many guys, man, they don't have that.
Yeah.
They don't have these things that some of us, like what Jordan and I thought was more normal, is not normal. We're actually the uncommon. And I didn't know that. Like I had a fantastic father figure, right? Like, and mother. And my dad taught me a lot of the things that I know today. Like in business too. He taught me so many different principles that for me it was like, I'm gonna do what my dad showed me.
Right. Yeah.
But sometimes when people don't have that, I think the dive head first mentality is like, obviously you need that, but some people don't even have that. And so I think the biggest thing that I've heard so far in where you're at, and Jordan already said it, but like you had someone in your life, your wife, who was willing to tell you the hard truth.
100%. Yeah. In more ways than one. So, and just to go back to what you're saying, I had wonderful parents growing up. I felt very lucky to have like my mom and my dad, and they were very supportive in their own way. And very encouraging, oh, you want to do that? Yeah, go for it. So I was happy with that. But yeah, I think there's, just on a super honest level, there were some things that I wish I knew about being in a family that maybe I didn't. My parents got divorced when I was young, and so maybe not having that as like something to look at as a reference was something I was missing or wish I had, or in a way, or like, you know what I mean? I don't know how to explain that. But
I get what you're saying.
Like, I guess I didn't have the visual example.
Yeah.
And so, but going back to my wife and the kind of like honesty and like just telling me as it is, there was a lot that like, I remember early on, she would be like, hey, why is it such a struggle for you to like listen, and what's going on? Like, why, and I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And she's like, you seem to struggle to like hear people or like listen to people when they're speaking. And I'm like, I do not, I'm a great listener,
Yeah.
but no one has ever said anything. And then like, I would ask a friend, I'm like, do I suck at listening? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, why didn't you ever say that to me? And he's like, how do I say that? You wouldn't have listened, So, yeah, there were certain things like that kind of opened my eyes, like, oh shit, like maybe there's some things I need to work on, and yeah, dude, can you sit here?
Yeah.
Hey, Dusty, lie down, good boy, stay here, you can chew that, stay. So, yeah, having her in my corner in that way was like really awesome for me, because not only for work and business and like tattooing and art or whatever, but just as a human and a person that had to like, show up for people and be just like a good person. That was hard to know. It's hard to know what you need to work on when no one's being honest with you. You know what I mean? So once I got that information, it was really cool. It was hard. It's hard. It's difficult to hear that stuff about you.
Heck yeah.
We all have egos, and I'm like,
Yeah.
my instinct is to be like, well, let's look at you then.
Yeah.
Like what do you have to work on? You know? And I had to get over that as well. But then like once you do, you kind of start to see like, oh yeah, of course I'm a human. Like of course I have shit I have to work on.
Yeah.
And what's cool is like, it's rare, I feel like, for people to work on themselves.
1,000,000%.
It's hard.
Yeah. That's literally what we're seeing all the time.
It's not cool. I shouldn't say it's cool, but it's cool to realize when you do start working on yourself, you're like, oh, this is great. And now I start to see other people in my life that I'm like, oh, I would just love if you worked on these things, that's hard.
It's funny too, because I think there's this whole trend of like, people are like, yeah, we're working on ourselves, but they're not actually working on themselves.
They're chat GPTing.
They're like chat GPT. No, they're just like working on themselves goes like, what makes me feel good?
Yeah.
And it's like working on yourself in all reality.
Pretty much the opposite.
Yeah, it's supposed to suck.
Right.
Like it really does. Like when someone tells you the truth about you, just like your point, you're like, what are you talking about? No, I'm a great listener.
Right.
Or like yesterday I've been just doing too much lately, and Caitlin was like, bro, why do you keep pulling out your phone at the dinner table? I was like, you just had your phone. And she was like,
right.
Just real quick
not at the dinner table. And I was like, yeah. Like I was like, and she's like, and you've been edgy. And I was like, what? No. I'm like, and then you take that step out. I'm like, crap, you're right. And then I don't know, it almost, to me at least, it becomes almost like addictive after that. And it's like, okay, well, now next time, how can I respond better? And like, okay, next time, how can I hopefully hear that without getting like instantly triggered? But also I feel like that little bit of like pushback is usually means that they are right, and it like struck a nerve. For sure. It's like, I feel like sometimes the more that it hurts, the more that I'm like, oh, that's probably more true than I hoped it would be.
Yeah. And like the hard thing is like, in order to get on top of that and change anything, you have to also understand, where does that come from? And that's a really hard thing to explore as well. Because you're like, okay, I'm doing this. I have these habits. I have these tendencies that maybe aren't the best or healthiest.
Yeah.
Why am I doing that? And then when you start to ask yourself that, like, why am I doing these things? Where do they come from? It sucks, because a lot of times you have to go back pretty far and be like, oh, this is something I learned from X, Y, and Z. Either an example that was shown to me, it's a survival instinct. So like I was young and I had to like, this was my response to the environment I was in. And now that's like stayed with me and it's like become a habit. And that's like my natural response to things, is to be like, well, you were on your phone. Right. So like when that's your natural response and you go, why am I doing that? Where does that come from? And that's how you get on top of that, rather than just like, because for so long I'd be like, okay, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm a bad listener. And then that would be the end of the conversation. But if I then started going, why am I a bad listener? Like, what is the reason I'm so tuned into myself and not what's around me? And you can kind of start to trace that back. And usually there is a road that you can go down and go, there it is. Like, that's why I'm like that. And it's hard to find sometimes, and sometimes it's a few things, right? But I had to like start going down those roads and be like, oh, I can see how I developed this like habit or these tendencies. And now I have the power to understand I'm not a victim to those habits anymore. I can choose something else.
Yeah.
You know, where if I'm in an argument with my wife or if I'm doing something, I can go, oh, I'm doing that thing that is a habit or something I've learned, a learned behavior. And I don't have to do that. I can do this other thing. You know, it gives you the power.
For sure.
Once you start to understand where it comes from.
But it's hard to get there.
It's so hard to get there.
And I think that's more... The more Jordan and I do these conversations with different people, it's forced Jordan and I to, we both have talked about this, but it's forced each one of us to like almost take a step back also, right? Like every one of these conversations, I leave thinking, dang, dude, have I actually worked on this particular thing like we just talked about? Or what is causing me to react this way? Or why have I been short with my wife? Or why have I been mean to Jordan, or why am I making excuses for whatever, you know? But I think the most common ground for men specifically in our lane that Jordan and I have experienced is within a handful of things, and like add into this if I'm missing something, but lack of accountability, to a lack of just like full self-awareness. And when I say self-awareness, I'm talking about like looking in that mirror and taking that hard look like you were just talking about, Jake, like of, wait, why am I, Ben, as a man, choosing to tiptoe around this? Or why can't I hear you? Why can't I receive this? Like, what is it? What's going on? What are my issues? What are my problems? What am I good at? What am I not good at? Not the what am I good at, but what am I not good at? 3 is a form of an addiction of some sort. Like wanting to compare, because comparing is an addiction as well, but like, you know, comparing why I'm not where I'm at, why do I not have more money, why do I not have this, what am I doing wrong, or I want to be the best at all these things, so I'm only going to work on those things. And 4, I would say, is just like a lack of space to be able to do this, to actually be able to like talk these things through. Because dude, like you said, like if you were to go to a buddy and be like, yo, why didn't you tell me I wasn't good at that? 9 out of 10 dudes are going to probably respond in a way of like, why would I tell you that, bro?
Right.
Like, I'm not your girl. Like, why would I tell you that, you know?
Right.
And so I was going in a direction of just wanting to share, like, dude, it's for you to be able to like sit here and talk about the stuff that you had to like internalize and go through is so much harder and not common. Like people can't get to that space.
Well, I think the common thing, and I do this, and I think we all do, a lot of guys I know do this, is they go very shallow, right? So there's, oh, why did I react this way about this thing my wife said? Why did I react poorly to my wife about this? And what they do is, even if they have a moment of self-reflection, like, oh, why did I do that? They'll go shallow. And what I mean by that is like, they'll be like, oh, I was working 12-hour shifts the last 3 days. I'm exhausted. Of course, like, you know, so I need to not work 12-hour shifts. That's not the reason. That's a very shallow, in your face, easy answer. But the question you have to ask is, no, why did I react that way? Because so-and-so can work 3 12-hour shifts and have a different reaction. So it's not the circumstances you're in. It's not the situation you're in. It's you.
Yeah.
So where is that coming from you? Because your behavior is you. It's like on you. It's not your circumstances. And
I like that.
so I would always go like, oh, why? You know, I would start the self-reflection, and I'd go, why am I doing this? And I would look to my surroundings. You know, oh, well, I'm stressed about X, Y, and Z. It's like, no, that's not a reason. That's just because you could throw, like I said, I'm repeating myself, you could throw someone else in that same circumstance and they would have a different reaction.
Yeah.
So what is it about you? You have to go deeper. Why are you having that reaction in those circumstances?
Yeah.
And that's really hard to face.
For sure.
Because you're like, oh, it's like this ego, you've heard this before, this ego death, where you're like, oh, I am like, I have to figure out who I am and why I'm doing these things. Why am I reacting these ways? Why do I have these responses? And it's a scary place to go to. It's a kind of sometimes a dark place to go to. But it's like the only way to like get better as a human, I feel like.
Yeah.
And to be a better dad, be a better husband, all the things.
Yeah.
I think something that ties so well with that is something I heard lately was men like to shut down emotions, but it was like emotions are okay. The problem with a lot of people are feelings. And the difference between emotion and feelings, emotions are good. Feelings are your reaction to that emotion. So I'm feeling, the emotion is I'm feeling discouraged about myself. Like I'm just kind of in a melancholy state, like, or I'm hurt or sad. The feeling is I want to go drink to get rid of that. The emotion is, there's some stuff like, I don't know, there's like feelings are like the outward branches of an emotion. And every emotion has multiple choices where you can allow that emotion to release. But the feelings are like the habits that you've learned along the way to let that out of the box. So it's, like you were just saying, you work 12-hour shifts, emotionally, maybe it's going back to fire stuff, right? I saw a lot of death. I have a lot of sadness when I was in my early 20s. I don't know how to let it out. That feeling is I go drink a ton and eat breakfast burritos until apparently that goes away, or at least I think it does. But really it's like, okay, I can work that out, that feeling out or that emotion out in a different direction instead of just doing whatever I feel. Because then it goes back to this thing where everyone thinks they're working on themselves and they're like, do whatever feels right to you. Well, it's like, no, don't do whatever feels right to you, because what feels right to you might be something that you learned, a negative reaction that you learned way back in the day,
Right.
where in reality you need to work it out in a different direction.
Yeah.
I got a little sidetracked there. But
I'm stoked we went down this path because I think, dude, like whether our listeners agree or disagree, or you guys agree or disagree, but I think our most important jobs in this room is not being the best tattoo artist in the world. It's not being the best first responder, firefighter in the world. It's not being the best business owner. It's conducting ourselves as men in all areas that we're at and in. So conducting myself the best way I possibly can in my business, in my relationship with my wife, in my parenthood. I think it's the most important job we can do is to be good men, and I mean that in like all areas. Obviously it's going to go into your business life, your work life, your personal life, your parent life. But I think the second most important job we will ever do is raising our children, to break the cycle of the things that we see or that you are working yourself out to be, right? Like, I think that is the most important thing we can do. And it's like why I'm actually really stoked we went down this road. Because again, like everything that we're doing now is temporary, right? Like, yeah, people might have a tattoo on their body for the, 80 years, 90 years they're around, but then it's gone, right? But the way you're choosing to interact in all areas of your life, that's how you build something that's has longevity, right? Like the things that you're instilling in your children, and then those children hopefully do it to their children,
for sure.
But with that, man, is one of the questions we ask is, what to you, Jake, makes a good dude and a good dad?
Oh, man. I think that's such a hard. How would I describe a good dude and a good dad? A good dad, I'll start there, I think is someone who's present, who's patient, who's gentle, I'm kind of going through the things that I want to be as a dad, I guess,
That's funny. That's what I was just about to say. Like, for you, like if you could be like through all your reflection and everything that you're doing, because you're clearly working through it.
Personally, for me, the things I have to focus on the most is being present. And so I feel like, I can go out, like, even if no one wanted a tattoo tomorrow, like just the whole world was against tattoos, I would go and figure something out to provide for my family. And even if it's like not the best thing, you know, so I have that thing kind of figured out. I feel like it's just a in me kind of thing. I don't even know if whatever that means, even if like, I don't know, it could be anything. It's not, I don't mean me, even if it meant like, oh, my wife found a great job and I have to stay home and whatever, we'd figure that part out. That I'm not worried about. Love, I feel like we have that as well. Like my wife and I love my daughter and my stepdaughter more than anything. And we just show them love. I feel like they feel loved. Mm-hmm. So there's a million things, right? But the things that I feel like I need to work on the most is being present with my daughter. Like just, she wants to play, I'm going to play, even if it's like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And usually that's all it is that she wants to do, And I think in my mind, it's like, hey, you want to play? It's like, oh, I have to do this thing. But it's like, yeah, but you have 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I actually heard a hilarious, this was on some other podcast, but they made a great point about how, the show Bluey?
Yeah.
And how it's like created these unrealistic expectations for parents.
Yeah.
Because they're just always playing with their kids.
Yep.
But they're like, yeah, but those are like 9-minute episodes.
Yep.
So it's like, if you don't have 9 minutes to play with your kids, like something's wrong, you know? And I was like, that's a great point, and I do play with my daughter. Like we made a puzzle yesterday and it took like 5 minutes. And then she's like, all right, I'm going to play with Dusty. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I think like being present and like, because you're always thinking about the things you have to do. And there's always a million things that you should be doing when you have a free second. And it's easy to feel like that's not an important thing, even though you know in the back of your mind it is. But it's not an urgent thing. But I'm like trying to put that in the category of urgent. Yeah. And like, prioritize that as much as I can, especially because like it's so quick. And then eventually she's going to not want to play with me. Yeah. And I'll be like, wait, So that's a big one, is just being present. Yeah. And also like when I am playing with her or when I'm like listening to her or spending time with her, not thinking about the other things. Because that's hard for me. Yeah, being attuned to that is crazy. It's also one of the most common things we hear, right? Is like the being very intentional with your time and your presence, right? Yeah. Like, because you could be present, but you could be not there, right? Like you're sitting on the couch, you're on Instagram, you're scrolling, or to the dads that are out there just sitting on the couch, just freaking drinking your life away while your kids are right there. Like you probably should like check yourself, right? Right. But being able to be there and be present in today's fast-paced world and environments that we live in is so hard. Mm-hmm. And dude, it's like one of the most important things they want from us, though. Yeah, like you said, it could be 5 minutes, it could be, well, and they pick up on it for sure, and then I have to think like, what kind of like expectations am I setting for her now? Yeah, like let's say she gets older and she meets someone and that person is my daughter gonna feel like, oh, I don't need much of their time, or I don't deserve much of their time because that's what I grew up in. I had to learn to find some attention elsewhere. Yeah. And like, I don't want my daughter to feel that way. I want my daughter to feel like she's worth that. Yeah. Like she deserves the attention of someone, especially someone like me. Yeah. And so that's a big one. But because it's also really easy to feel like, oh, I got to be home with the kids, and you're not really there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you feel like I'm home, but you might as well be gone. Yep. Because you're not even present. And so like that's a big part for me. But also like that's the whole point. Like that's it's a kind of a trend. I don't know if you've seen that online. I almost forgot this was the whole point. That's like a kind of thing right now. And it's funny because it's true. It's like that is the whole point of this of everything. You show up to work so that you can like spend time with your kids, like, or else like, why are you doing it? If someone was like, hey, you can do everything you're doing right now, but take your kids out of the picture, you're like, no, I don't want that. Yeah, heck no. Right? So it's like, well, the whole point of all of this is like them and like to be present with them. So for me, have you heard that analogy or like that story? It's like this old story of the fisherman off the dock.
I don't know. Go for it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to butcher this, but it's my favorite reminder of, like, this is the whole point, okay? There's a fisherman fishing off the dock. And this businessman comes along and he says, hey, you know, have you ever considered getting a boat? And he's like, well, why would I get a boat? He's like, well, if you got a boat, you can go fish in other parts of the water, catch more fish. Like, oh, well, why would I need to catch more fish? He's like, oh, well, you bring them into town, sell the fish, make some money. He's like, oh, then what? And then he goes, well, then you get more boats and you hire people to go fish for you. So now you're making more money. So, okay, well, what do I do then? He's like, well, then you can, and he keeps going and expanding his business concept. And he's like, that sounds great. Like, so in theory, I can be rich. And he's like, yeah, and then you can retire. And he's like, oh, okay, well, then what do I do? He's like, well, when you retire, you can spend your days fishing off the dock. And he's like, okay, well, here we are, full circle. I'm doing that right now. And that's often what I have to tell myself. Like, if someone gave you $1 million or $1 billion, because I don't know, $1 million doesn't go very far these days. But if someone gave you, like, say $100 million and was like, you're done, you don't have to do anything, you can retire, what are you going to do? And literally the things that I would do that would make me happy, I could do them right now.
Yeah.
And that's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, I look around me, I look at my daughter, I look at my life, and I'm like, I have that right in front of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is just wild to think about.
Yeah. It's actually fantastic to think about.
I love that.
You already have it.
Yeah.
Like, if you really went down that road and I asked myself, like, what would I do with that money? I would probably go spend time in the mountains fishing.
Yeah.
With my family there. I would go on hikes. I would, obviously there's some certain luxuries that you don't get, right? If you don't have that. But like the things that would actually bring me joy is not like the flying business class. It would be like spending time and having a cuddle with my daughter.
For sure.
And I can do that.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But you have to have that perception.
Then my other, like, if you're doing that and you're looking at it and you're like, yeah, maybe it would be to fish, a little bit more, or spend time with my daughter a little bit more, and I can't do that right now. It's like, okay, well, what's keeping you from doing that right now?
Sure.
And then that's like, okay, why don't you work your life towards, maybe the career that you're in right now that's eating your life away. Maybe that's not the best place to be at the moment. Like, because I can flip that and look on the other side. There's like, there's just that one person that has that excuse that, like, well, it'd be great, but I can't. It's like,
right.
Okay, like, there does come a level of working hard is a great thing.
Yeah.
And the ability to work hard is a great thing. But you also, like, working smart without working hard is dumb. And working hard without working smart is dumb. And, like, some people I know that they're like, because I had this conversation with somebody who was like, I just can't do that. I'm like, why? Well, I'm working from here to here. Okay, and then what? Then from here to here. Okay, and then what? From here to here. I'm like, well, are any one of those jobs actually? Is there room for one? Is there room for growth? Is it going to change eventually? No. Okay, then, like, you need to be smart too and find. Sorry, I got completely off topic.
No, I think that's it. Yeah, I think to your point,
like,
you also have to ask yourself what you want.
Yeah.
If what's important to you is like living in a certain zip code, and you have to work. Excuse me. You have to work, 6 days a week, all day in order to like live in that zip code. You're kind of like, what's the point? If someone gave you $100 million and they said, yeah, but you have to live in jail.
Yeah, you're like, what am I doing?
Why would I do that?
Yeah.
And I have to constantly ask myself that. And that was an agreement my wife and I had moving here. We said, if we move here and in order to pay to live here, I have to work an insane amount and you have to work an insane amount and someone else is raising our daughter and we're just never home. We're going back to Ireland.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. And that was like, as soon as that even starts to come into the picture, we're going to, no. Because that's not the life I want to live. Yeah. That's not important to me. I don't care enough about living here. I don't care enough about the good weather to be a slave to that.
Yeah, you don't want to work to live.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Which we all do here.
Right.
Unfortunately.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
And, I'm very fortunate, and I feel like I'm aware of how lucky I am to have the life I have, but I've had such a taste I've gotten to taste the good life that I'm so protective of it that I just won't go down that road.
That's
so
fantastic.
if it's going to cost me my whole life to live in a certain place, I just won't do it. I'll leave.
Yeah.
Because that's no life.
No.
It's just not a life.
Dang.
Well, let's ask you one more
gotta-
question because you got to get out of here. But if someone was looking for one actionable step, should we tailor it towards?
I feel like we talked a lot about just being a man, but you are also a very established tattoo artist. So maybe the actionable step could be towards somebody that's contemplating or on the fence of like, do they want to pursue becoming like an artist full-time, a tattoo artist full-time or not? Like, what step you would give them? Is that
Sounds great, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'll adjust it a little bit to maybe like to anyone who's thinking about starting something that they are passionate about.
Awesome.
Because I don't know how many tattoo artists are listening to this, right?
I know of at least 3.
Yeah.
So
I think first thing I'll say, because you love something doesn't mean you have to make it your job. And in fact, most of the time, you're not going to love it because you make it your job.
Yeah.
So I think that's the big thing that people have to get over. That's like the number one thing, actually, because when people say, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, that's like such bullshit. That's actually probably the most misleading thing ever. It's actually the opposite. If you love what you do, you're going to actually end up working a lot more. Sometimes I wish I had a 9-to-5 that I can clock in and clock out.
Yeah.
And be like, I'm leaving that here and I'm going home and I don't have to think about it. Sounds nice. So there's that. So just because you love it doesn't mean you have to do it. But if you're like, I'm an artist, I really want to do art as a career. I know that's what I want to do. Then, or anything like that, that you're passionate about. First thing is like do a lot of it. So just do as much as you can, right? So if it's tattoo artist, just get fake skin, get a machine, and just tattoo fake skin all day, every day, as much as you can. Start there. And then you're gonna have to we all know this, but like you're gonna have to set yourself up online. Right? And just the thing that bothers me a lot is when I hear people like, oh, I really love this and I really want it to be my career and my business, but I just hate the social media stuff. And it's like, well, then don't do it. The social media stuff is part of the job now.
Yeah.
That just is it. You have to figure it out. And it's not that hard and it's not that bad either. I had this conversation with a tattoo artist recently about, back in the day, you would have had to hire a whole film crew and film a commercial.
Yeah.
Or put your name in the newspaper and hope someone's reading it one day. And now you have access to like thousands and thousands of people for free. All you have to do is make a little video on your phone for free. So it's like, it's really accessible. Just do it. That's the first thing. What would I say? The advice I'd give someone. Yeah, that's it really. I think just do as much as you can. And then learn how to market yourself.
That's
I think that's it. And then just be like a good person. Always feel like there's something to learn and somewhere to grow. Don't think you have it figured out. And treat people nice, treat your customers nice. And I think that's I don't know.
That's awesome,
that's
man.
good.
I'm going to add a little to it because the things that you said earlier is that get yourself around people that are better than you, that you want to emulate. Go in there when you're learning and trying to get around them. Don't go in there cocky and rude. Go in there with a heart and a mindset of learning and paying attention, and keep your eyes open to really pay attention to what they're doing, because at the end of the day, they're not going to have any crazy thing that's going to, skip the whole process of just putting in the work and working hard, but also just go in there willing to learn, which is what you sound like you did back there. So.
And on top of that, actually, I'm glad you said that, because a huge part of it is also put yourself out there, right? And like I think a lot of things that people don't do is like, I'm not going to reach out to them because one, they're probably never going to read it, or they're not going to care. And that's so like just, you already lost, right? Yeah. So if there's a shop you want to go guest at, if there's an artist you want to learn from, reach out to them. Mm-hmm. And I've talked to artists and they're like, I'd love to work there one day. I'd love to guest there one day. And I'm like, what, have you talked to them? No, I'm not ready yet, you know? And I'm like, what are you waiting for? You know, and like throw yourself into the hard thing or the scary thing that you feel like you're not ready for, and like let that just play out and develop into the thing that you're hoping that it will, because then that thing you were so nervous about you're gonna laugh at it one day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like me looking at the shop in that small town, going like, oh my God, are they gonna let me work here? You know, and now I'm like, I can't believe I was ever worried about that.
Yeah.
You know. And so that happens with all things, like even the big things that you're like, there's no way that'll. I've messaged people online being like, they're not going to see this, and they're like, hey, yeah, sounds great, let's do it, you know. And I'm just like, and so then I take it to the next level, and I'm like, how far can I take this? So I'm like messaging LeBron James.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's do a tattoo, buddy.
Yeah.
And, you know, of course he doesn't see it or hit me back. But But if I never did, the chance of him returning my message
is 100%.
Is 100%
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, dude, thank you so much for...
This is crazy. Dusty, hey.
for coming on. Dude, I appreciate you, man.
No, thanks for having me.
It's been, honestly, like, for people that don't know who he is, it's been so sick, like, watching... you just go from Janky Jake to who you are now, man. It's super cool. But I think the most, and I'm gonna sound like a weird old creepy dude right now, but I think the most like cool thing about this podcast and this space and the time we just shared is just like seeing how you've grown into like the man you are. Like, because to me, again, dude, like that's what's important, right? Like I don't care about a lot of other things. I don't care about success levels. I don't care about a lot of things, but I care about, now that I'm a husband and a father, those are the areas I truly like care about.
Yeah.
And it's just cool, man, because I've known you for a long time. So to see like where you're at, it's just like super dope. So thank you.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. Same to you.
Yeah, thank you.
They can find you at Janky Jake _tattoos.
That's me.
And then it looks like jankyjake.com.
Yeah, jankyjake.com.
Okay. Is there anywhere else that they should try to hit you up?
No, that's it really. Yeah. Instagram and my website.
Yeah.
Get a tattoo from him.
Get a tattoo.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. I will put the link to his website and to his Instagram in the show notes. But as always, be a good dude, be a good dad.